Our world was determined to keep us apart. A poor village girl and I, a rich boy, had to decide if our love was worth more than a fortune. Our story isn't about big houses or endless money. It's about the quiet moments that truly build a life and the hard choices that show what's really in your heart. This is the story of how we made that choice and found out what being rich really means. Before I met her, my life was in a sprawling city that glittered with wealth. I am John. My world was the exact opposite of hers. My home was a grand mansion, a cold and silent place where every room felt empty. My family was one of the wealthiest in the country, and our name was a symbol of power. But for me, this world was a golden cage. My life was like a performance, and I was just playing a part. My father measured life in money and business deals. He saw me as an heir, not a son. My mother was obsessed with our social status. She was always planning my future, which included marrying a woman from a family as powerful as ours. They loved me in the only way they knew how, by trying to control my life. I felt completely alone. I was like a ghost in my own home, with a loneliness that money could not fix. I wanted something real, a connection that wasn't about my family's name. I dreamed of a quiet life and a love that saw me for who I was, not what I had. I was a rich boy who felt poor inside, searching for something money could never buy. I just didn't know where to find it. Her name was Emily. I didn't know it yet, but she lived a life so different from mine. In a small village tucked between green hills. She was 20 and carried her family's struggles on her shoulders, but her spirit was bright. Her family was poor, but their home was rich with love. They lived in a tiny cottage where the floorboards creaked, and the smell of her mother's baking filled the air. Every day was a challenge. Sometimes breakfast was only bread and hope, but they always shared it with thanks. Emily worked hard, mending clothes and working in their small garden. Her greatest treasures weren't jewels, but a small pile of books she loved. She read them by candlelight, escaping into stories of faraway places. She didn't dream of money, but of a safe life where she could also have love. One sunny afternoon, I had to get away from the silence of my mansion. I drove out of the city with no place to go. I just wanted to feel the open air and see something real. By chance, I ended up near a small village I'd never seen before. I parked my expensive car, which looked like it was from another planet there, and started to walk. I walked into the village market. It was a lively place, full of a happy, gentle energy. People laughed and talked over fresh vegetables. It felt wonderfully ordinary. And that's when I saw her. She was near a stall selling old books. It was Emily. She was looking through them with a small smile on her face. As she turned to leave with a book, a running kid bumped into her, and her books fell to the ground. Before she could do anything, I was there. I knelt beside her and started to gather her books. I picked one up and handed it to her. Our fingers brushed for a second. When our eyes met, the world around us disappeared. In her blue eyes, I saw a kindness I had never seen before. In my eyes, she saw not a rich, proud man, but someone surprisingly gentle. "Thank you," Emily said, her voice quiet. "My pleasure," I replied. I gave her a real smile, and she smiled back. It was a simple moment, but for both of us, it was a spark in our lonely worlds. Emily, a little nervous, thanked me again and hurried away. I stood there for a moment watching her go. I felt a new kind of hope. I didn't know her name, but I knew I had to see her again. That first meeting in the market wasn't the last. I kept finding reasons to go back to the village, just hoping to see the girl with the kind eyes again. I learned her name was Emily, and I started creating accidental meetings at the market or near the small library where she worked. Our talk started small, about the weather or the books she loved, but with every conversation, we grew closer. I had never met anyone like Emily. She wasn't impressed by my expensive car or clothes. She cared about my thoughts and dreams. She asked me questions no one had ever asked me before, not about my business, but about what made me happy. Soon, our accidental meetings became secret ones. Our friendship turned into love. We met in a quiet spot by a river, under a big willow tree, away from everyone. There, we could talk for hours. I told her about the pressure I felt and the loneliness of my life. I told her I felt like a piece in my parents' game. Emily listened with care that healed my heart. With her, I wasn't an heir to a fortune. I was just John. She told me about her own hopes and fears. She talked about her family's money problems and her simple dream to open a small bookstore one day. She never asked for my help. She just trusted me. I was amazed by her strength. She made my family's wealth feel empty. Our love grew with every secret meeting. One evening, as the sun set, I took her hand. "Emily," I said, my voice full of emotion, "I know our worlds are different, but being with you, it's the only thing that has ever felt real in my life. I love you." Tears came to her eyes. She had been fighting her feelings, afraid of the pain. But hearing my words, she couldn't hide her feelings anymore. "I love you too, John," she whispered. We knew our love was a secret. We lived in a small, safe bubble we made by the river. But we both knew that bubbles always pop. The real world was waiting to face us. We couldn't keep our secret forever. The more time I was away, the more my parents suspected something. I was skipping social events and ignoring the women my mother wanted me to meet. Finally, my mother had someone follow me. The truth was worse than they thought. A private investigator came back with pictures of me, their heir, holding hands with a simple village girl. To them, she was a gold digger who would ruin everything. The fight was awful. When I got home, my parents were waiting. The photos were on the table. "What is this, John?" my father asked, his voice cold as ice. "Who is this girl?" My heart sank. This was the moment I feared. I took a deep breath. "Her name is Emily," I said, "and I love her." My mother gasped. "Love her?" she said. "John, that girl is only after your money. You don't know her," I said, my anger growing. "She is a better person than anyone I know. She doesn't care about the money. They wouldn't listen. My father gave me a choice. This foolishness ends now," he said. "You will never see her again. You will do your duties here. If you refuse, if you choose her over this family, you are no longer our son. You will be cut off. Choose, John. Your fortune, your future, your family, or her." The words were heavy. I looked at my parents' hard faces. They didn't know me at all. They were asking me to choose between a life that was killing my spirit and the only person who made me feel alive. Heartbroken, I drove to Emily and told her everything. The color left her face. She loved me, but she couldn't be the reason for my ruin. With tears on her face, she made the hardest decision of her life. "Maybe they're right," she whispered. "I can't let you throw away your life for me. I can't be the reason you lose your family. It's better if we stop." I looked at her, at the love in her eyes, and my choice became clear. "No, Emily. Losing you, that would be throwing my life away. They are making this hard, not you. We'll find a way." I held her close, but the storm was here. We were not in our safe bubble anymore. We were in the real world, and it was trying to tear us apart. The choice was mine, and I knew it would change everything. The next morning, I walked back into my family's house one last time. I didn't argue. I stood before my parents and said, "I choose Emily. If I have to choose between your money and her love, I don't want your money." My father was silent and angry. My mother cried for her lost plans. They gave me nothing. I walked out of that big, empty house with a small bag in my car, leaving a world of wealth behind. I drove toward an unknown future, but for the first time, it felt like my own. I went straight to Emily. She was scared for me, but she also saw the relief in my eyes. She saw a man who was finally free. She took my hand, and we decided to face the world together. The beginning was very hard. Love was strong, but it didn't pay the rent. I had never worked a day in my life, and now I had to find a job. I sold my expensive car, and we used the money for a tiny apartment. It was a big change. I worked as a waiter, then as a stock clerk. My hands got rough and tired. I struggled, but I never complained. Emily was my strength. She got a job in a small cafe and managed our small budget very well. She taught me how to cook, how to enjoy small things, and how to live. Our life was so different from the luxury I had known, but it was filled with something my mansion never had: warmth and true partnership. Our evenings were our special time. We were tired, but we were happy in each other's arms. The hard times didn't break us, they made us stronger. We were building a life from nothing, and every small success felt huge. Years passed. With my sharp mind and hard work, I got a better job in an office, starting from the bottom. My success was sweeter because I earned it myself. With our savings, Emily finally opened her dream: a small secondhand bookstore. It wasn't big, but it was ours. One afternoon, a well-dressed man walked into our bookstore. It was my father. He looked older and more tired. He looked around the small shop at the simple, happy life I had built. He saw Emily smiling at a customer. He saw me standing proudly behind the counter, looking content. There were no big apologies. My father just walked up to me and said, "You look happy, son." He looked at Emily and gave a small, respectful nod. "You've built a good life." The words were few, but they were enough. He once thought wealth was everything, but now he saw that I had found something much richer. Emily and I continued to build our life together, a life based on love, respect, and shared dreams. We had faced the world and chosen each other. We proved that true love isn't about two worlds crashing into each other. It's about two people building a new world together. Our story is a reminder that sometimes the biggest walls we face are the ones other people build for us. We chose love over fortune and found a happiness that money could never buy. We discovered that true wealth isn't what you have in your bank account, but who you have in your life. What do you think is more important for a lasting relationship? Where you come from, or what you value? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if our story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more stories about the power of love. Thanks for watching.